A very warm welcome to you all, wherever you may be, to today's edition of Unlocked SK, the original interactive talk show, broadcasting to you live from our micro streaming studio here on the beautiful island of Corfu. And not only are we on Facebook Live, but we're also on the studio website, which is www.StudioKerkyra.com, or indeed the video platform that is Vimeo.com, and of course good old YouTube, and now Twitter and Twitter's Periscope, all of which are in superb quality. As always, I'm very lucky and pleased to say that I have the help and assistance with our wonderful producer, Claire Haas, who will be answering all your comments on Facebook Live Messenger and taking those elusive calls from Skype. And of course, as always, no broadcast would be quite complete without the irrepressible, irredoubtable one and only Mr. Thomas Haas. Hello, Thomas, how are you today?
Hello, Adrian, and hello, everybody out there. Thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning back in. So a big hello from us here from beautiful Corfu. Yeah, and we didn't move a lot today. Had a couple of reasons. First, I done a little bit my back in, so I wanted to relax. But at the second is also we are at the moment networking all over the island to find you the best place we can live stream from, and we got some good response back from you guys, so thank you so much for writing back and giving us these important contact details so we can hook up with the guys and we can show you more of this beautiful island. But what a day today, huh?
Yes, it's beautiful, glorious sunshine, blue skies, blue sea, exactly as you expect Corfu to be, and it's a staggering 24 degrees. Quite warm in here today, Thomas, isn't it? Do you know, a thought's just occurred to me, your back injury, unfortunately. Do you think it's all those extraordinary positions you contorted yourself in to get the absolute best possible signal from our Cosmote router?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I mean, I got really... when you should have watched last week when we tried to fix this problem with the bandwidth, with the bitrate. We streaming at the moment. So, and it's quite hard, and I tried to find the highest location, so it looked a little bit funny in a certain times when we done that.
Yeah.
So, but it's great, guys. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching. It's another beautiful day here in paradise. And when I can get over and say, hey, guys, there's so many of you watching and saying hello, so it's great. Christopher Damanai is saying hi from Gefuri Cafe Bar in Afra. Jackie Cherry is saying hi, everybody, on this sunny afternoon. And is it a sunny afternoon?
It's
wow, man.
Very sunny indeed. Hello, Jackie. Hello, Chris.
And Lavinia is writing in hi, chaps and chappies. Hello, everybody, and especially Army in Finland.
Yes.
Yeah.
We always say a special hello to Army there. Hiva Ilta to Army if she's watching, and hello, Vinny. Thanks for all your love and support.
And Sarah HG is hi in
Sarah.
the New Forest, longing to be home in Mesongi. Yeah, we believe we share that one, isn't it?
Indeed. Mesongi is home to many people. It's a glorious place, as you probably saw from a couple of weeks back when we did a live broadcast there. But you know what, Sarah? The New Forest ain't so bad either, is it really? Beautiful place.
Oh, it's a bit. I like that. We've done a few camping trips to the New Forest, and I loved that, especially over to Brockenhurst that way.
Oh,
it's
absolutely
beautiful.
Gorgeous,
yeah. Margaret Johnson is saying, hey, hi, everybody from Kent.
Hi, Margaret.
And there's loads coming in. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks, guys, for watching and writing, and especially the messages. We need your messages. Anything you want to know regarding now this easing of restriction of lockdown here in Greece. I mean, there's a couple of stories coming now in a minute, but it is anything you want to know or you want us, let us know. Comment now here live or send us an email to inbox@StudioKerkyra.com. Simon Berry is writing in, good evening, gentlemen. Hope all is well on the best island on the planet.
Oh, we agree. Here with that. Absolutely right, Simon. You've got it in one. Yes.
Totally. Bowl Bollock is writing, good afternoon, Bowl and
Hi,
Sarah
Paul.
here. Sunny Dover, Kent. Oh, great.
Great, yes.
Tom
good one.
Giddings. Hi, everybody. Hope all well. Tom from Appledore.
Lovely
So
Appledore.
Appledore
Hello,
is
Tom.
great again.
Yeah,
And
just-
Anthony van der Krank. Hello, my friends.
Hi,
I'm
Anthony.
cooking and listening to my favorite studio.
Do you know
oh,
what?
great.
Oh,
you
thank you,
are
Anthony.
Corfaholics on here, of course.
We all are. We're all guilty of that. It's like a disease, isn't it? It sort of creeps into you, and once you've got it, you can't get rid of it. But it's a wonderful disease to have. Anthony, you're always cooking. That's marvellous. I hope that we can add to the flavour of your cooking.
Yeah, well, we can do this when he is finally back here in Corfu.
Well,
maybe we make him cook for us while we on while we live. So when we finish the thing, we got something nice to eat, man.
What a lovely thought! Yes, we look forward to that.
But it's great. Ella Cella Apartments and Studios is saying you're welcome over here, and don't forget your swimsuit, and that has to do with the call out, with the shout out we did for locations. I done today on Facebook a shout out. Any locations here on this beautiful island to show the beauty of not just the beauty but also the history. Guys, we are happy, more than happy to work with tavernas, bars, hotels, apartments, historical places together to come with one of our shows from their show of the beautiful view and much, much more. So, and I posted that out and you guys responded brilliantly. Just keep it coming with the ideas and the contacts so we can arrange a fantastic tour through paradise.
Absolutely, and one of those groups that we often go on about on Facebook is Corfu Beaches Group, and they suggested yesterday, Thomas, probably in response to your posting, that we should take a look at Agni Beach there in the northeast of the island, and it is indeed a beautiful bay. Lovely place, been there a couple of times, and yes, we'd be delighted to do a live stream from there one day soon, hopefully.
Yeah, and we're preparing, and that's why I said we're taking it easy. Man, tomorrow we come from Issos Beach. Tomorrow we're already getting prepped to drive straight on to Issos Beach, and we're gonna lay the camera cables out as far as we can so we can show you the whole area. We done that a year before. It was fantastic. What a great so the view over to St. George South, and then you have the view up into the north over the Lake Curacao. It's breathtaking.
Absolutely, and if you're out for a late afternoon stroll, why don't you walk a little bit extra, go the extra mile or kilometre I should say, and come and say hello to us. If you see us catching us broadcasting live, we'd love to talk to you while we're live on air. Wouldn't that be something to us?
Oh yeah, that would be great. We're up for all kind of stuff. Though it's brilliant. It's all about going and enjoying this island, showing this island off, especially now at the time where, travel is restricted. We got big problems here. We hope tourism is going to start now on the 1st of July. I mean, the first flights are coming in on the 15th this month, so that's Monday, no?
Yes, Monday the 15th. We should be expecting flights from those countries, 29 of them that are allowed to arrive in Athens or Greece. We've heard all these things before. Let's hope that sticks. We did hear a group of 11 countries from the EU. I don't quite know what happened to them. Maybe they're waiting for the 15th as well. But as we keep warning everybody, things do seem to change on an almost daily basis.
I know, and it's a little bit confusing, but I got more messages. Nikos and Annabelle Lubros from London is watching. Hi guys, nice to see you. There's Richard Zebedee is here. Hi Thomas and Adrian and Claire. How are you today? Are we great? We in paradise, mate. We can't be any better. Eleni is writing in, hi, thanks to Margaret Johnson for sending me the link. I'm in the garden in Darby Green. Ooh, hello.
Okay, hello,
Eleni,
welcome.
Hello to you from Darby Green. That's nice for you to tune in and watch. And of course, Vivian is watching. Hi, Vivian. Hello,
Vivian,
a lot of hugs from us here in Corfu Donegal.
Yeah, lovely. Hello, good to have you on board, Vivian. Hope you're well and happy.
Yeah, she's saying we have been very busy doing the house and garden up, painting and new floors. See, that's right for some. It's great, isn't it?
Loads of people have been doing that, haven't they? They've been doing their gardens and lots of DIY been going on, which is great.
But it causes a problem within the United Kingdom. Claire said something about her friend should have helped out a few people with building work and organizing that, and she came back and said, builders are struggling because they don't have any plaster left in the building shops. So it's a little bit of a
with materials. Definitely, there's shortages or difficult to supply arrangements going on. I've heard conflicting stories, quite frankly, depending on where you are in the United Kingdom. What I've heard is in the Midlands, you not only can't get plaster, but for some reason you haven't been able to get any paint. I don't quite know why that is. I've heard lots of people moan about that. Let's hope these things can sort themselves out pretty quickly.
Definitely. Steve Spowers is writing in, hi everybody, reports in the UK quarantine may end June 29th with probably air bridges and so on. Okay, we gotta talk about it. That's great. And another one, Paul Hugh. Hi Paul, nice for you to tune in. He said, make sure they have clothes on at Issos
okay,
Beach.
Yes, that's always a good tip, I must admit. I've had a few embarrassing moments near there on the coast. Yes, I don't know who was more embarrassed, me or the elderly couple who were enjoying the sun, shall we say.
Yes, no, guys, thanks for logging on, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions regarding holidaying here on Corfu, let us know and we will do our utmost best to answer them. And if you think there's anything we should know, don't hesitate, write us in now, send us a message live or send us an email to inbox@StudioKerkyra.com. And Deborah Brown is writing in, I'm missing my Corfu. And this, that's the...
So many do, Thomas. It's once you come here, you never forget the place. That's sure.
What it is. Yeah. Exactly, that's what it is. But let's go over to local news and Greek news. It's going new coronavirus cases in Greece. So, and the daily update is to begin again. I mean, how strange is that? You got more on that one now.
Well, they're a bit concerned that in the last 24 hours, cases have spiked by over 50. I read out a figure yesterday that I think was 3,290 something. Well, today's latest figure is 3,049 cases with 182 deaths and 1,464 recovered. But they're saying that the spike in the last 24 hours has been the greatest spike in Greece since April the 24th, would you believe? So it's slightly worrying, although the caveat there was these are people returning to Greece having been infected elsewhere. But it is not necessarily good news, especially at this crucial time right at the moment when a lot of countries are easing their lockdown restrictions.
Yeah, and that's it. The total number of cases is now 3,049 here in Greece,
that's
of which 55.2% are males. So, and 690, 22.6% of the cases are connected to arrivals from abroad.
That's right. That's what they're hanging on to, that thought.
So it is, 10 patients are in intubation. Intubated at the moment, the average age is 75, 2 and 4. So 40% of them are female, 80% have underlying health conditions and are over 70. 15 have now been discharged from ICU.
Okay, well, that's good.
So that's the thing, what they write. But it's interesting that they start with a daily briefing again. So they saw this increase, and it makes you wonder now what's gonna happen. What's with the travel restrictions? Everything is coming together. People are getting ready to go on holiday, and
that's what it looks like at face value, absolutely. But as we've known over the last few months, the best placed plans can be smashed to pieces at a moment's notice. New information comes along on a daily basis, and these things, as we all know, keep changing. I picked up a story from a couple that had travelled from the United Kingdom the other day. They were trying to get back to their home here in Corfu, and they managed to fly from London to Athens via Sofia, would you believe? When they got to Athens airport, they were tested. But there was no hotel provided for them. But they were, however, allowed to fly on to Corfu, where, of course, they must self-isolate for the next 7 days. So there's one UK couple that have found a way of getting here right at this minute, would you believe?
Wow, yeah. And
via Sofia, mind you.
Via Sofia, that's Bulgaria.
Bulgaria,
yeah. So now they're on the way. I also picked up on certain groups that there are people with their cars their way. So there's something going on. So the ferry is going, so they coming already with their cars and their motorhomes. I heard something from Bari, from someone who said, you know what, there is motorhomes queuing on one side. Not that many, but it's already when there is 20, he said around just over 20 motorhomes are waiting to come over to Greece.
Okay.
So they at the moment are not allowed on there. But you never know in the end what's going to happen. When do they come, when they arrive, but we're going to see some tourism.
Indeed. One point that we must relay from David Roseman, our good viewer there in Romney Marsh, I think it is. He pointed out, which we've already mentioned, but it's always good to hear another time, is that still to this minute, the official advice, this is in the United Kingdom, is for UK citizens from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office not to travel internationally unless it's absolutely essential. And because that warning, if you like, instruction, is still in place, it actually makes any travel insurance or any other insurance connected with your holiday or travelling null and void. So do be aware of that until they change that advice, which actually is expected to be changed very soon now. So they say.
So they say. So now we have to look into that and see what it is. But there's more coming. There's so much confusing news now regarding the quarantine in England. That's the next thing. So, guys, if you know anything, let us know. It's just when you look in, British Airways is considering legal actions against the UK regarding the quarantine.
Along with EasyJet and Ryanair. That's a separate issue going on. They're trying to get legal action. But also there's another group here, Thomas, that actually represents the travel and hospitality industries. And they've been nicknamed the Quash Quarantine Group. They are not only threatening the government with some sort of legal action, but actually more prominently, they are really pushing hard for the government to create air bridges and travel corridors, a travel bubble, if you like. This is between countries that have a similar R rate or infection rates, etc. This is pushing for the 29th of June. Before that, the government were thinking of the 4th of July. So they're trying to bring it forward to the 29th of June and thus ending this 14-day quarantine. The government, in response, have said they are actively looking at that suggestion. So maybe, just maybe, there might be some movement afoot, some change in the UK government, and maybe air bridges or air corridors could be established, and that seems to me to be a quick, shortcut, effective way of getting international travel started again.
Could be. It is. Man, here Tom Giddings is writing in. I think lots of people will travel to other countries to get to Corfu, like fly to Dublin, then Dublin to Corfu, and the same way I heard go to Scotland, and you can fly from Edinburgh to Corfu. Yeah. So it's another one. So how is this working? Because the first thing I heard today is, and that comes straight out of the Guardian, is a couple what arrived at Athens, at Heathrow Airport, they were very confused.
Yes.
To their surprise, some passengers were surprised by the lack of physical screening for the virus. Fiona, 59, traveled from Washington, D.C. and will be living in Bristol with her fiancé, who had flown in from Hong Kong. The article also said they didn't even do a temperature check at either end, not in Washington before we got on the flight, and not in London when we got off the flight, she said. So somebody could have been on the flight with 100 plus temperature and got off and gone on their merry way. And that's in the Guardian at the moment. So it's shocking.
Yes, it is. Not what we're used to hearing, actually. We are used to hearing stories about how people are being diligently tested at various airports around the world. So that's absolutely quite horrifying to think they've travelled all those thousands of miles and there's been no test anywhere, either at the point of exit or indeed entry.
So it's a thing. But let me say hello quickly. I missed a couple of things out and I'm just lost them. I cannot believe that. But a lot of here it goes. It's Richard Zebedee saying thank you to us for his birthday wishes yesterday. I hope you enjoyed that very much. And Cassie Duckworth is saying hi from Rhoda. I'm usually cooking while I'm listening. So the next one is cooking. That's
another
great,
one.
Man.
Brilliant. Cook away, Kathy. Hope it tastes jolly good when you've completed your cooking task, and we hope to send some good waves your way.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, thank you for writing and thank you for commenting. Man, there's lots going on. Man, we heard this in Greece. Now in Greece, they had this spike, and that spike is the highest since they had in April. So that's concerning. Over here, everything seems to get ready. I mean, we got two sides again here, aren't we?
Yeah.
So
we must point out that there are a lot of people that we've been speaking to, and you can only read for yourself on Facebook and other social media platforms. There is an awful lot of people who are definitely in two minds about the impending influx of tourists, especially on this island. A lot of Corfu residents are very concerned about COVID-19 being brought to them on their doorstep. It's definitely split down the middle. But even, as we said yesterday, Thomas, there are many taverna owners who are so unsure, torn between the two. Yes, of course, they need the tourists in for the economic situation that they're in, which is very sticky, of course, at the moment. But equally, they're very concerned about the effects of COVID-19. We saw that on Sunday in play with us, didn't we? And we were talking to several people just recently about this. So there's definitely mixed feelings here, I would say.
I know, and when I look I get a lot of messages in. There's a lot of confusion going on from when do I book now? Because the next thing we got on there for you is this message, and that message came in now from chat.com.
Yes. It looks familiar, doesn't it?
It looks familiar, isn't it?
It should do, because we run a story on this in Lockdown SK probably about a month ago, when they were trumpeting the idea that they were going to start flights in mid-June. And we said at the time we thought they were a bit rash to say that. And unfortunately, there we go.
There we go. There is the notice up there.
Bit
No?
of a
So
retraction,
1st of June, they said they commence, and we were confused with that when I said, really? This is as much as you do. And then they said 1st of July, no?
Yeah.
Then were the 1st of July coming. They were 15th of June, and then it was 1st of July we going, and now it's going all on to the 15th of July. And they say also customers who were due to travel before July 15th do not need to contact us. We are continuing to proactively contact customers to discuss their options, of one of which is rebooking their holiday to a later date. So that's now out by the door. This 1st of July, that's completely gone.
Yes, let's hope they don't have to put up another statement in a couple of weeks' time retracting this statement, because then there would have been
I know,
three
it's quite
almost like the United Kingdom government, really, isn't it? A little bit.
I mean, it would be nice to have a few like that again, so
yes.
to come in to the island and make holiday. Go on.
Yes, it's nice to see an aeroplane, obviously, but a questionable livery, I would say, but that's down to personal taste, perhaps. It looks like they've changed their livery since a couple of years back, doesn't it?
No, definitely it looks like they changed it. But hey, guys, thanks for writing in. Thanks for taking part. I got many more questions in. How here, Paul Bullock, how will the airport bus and buses around Corfu work with social distancing? And there we spoke about that. They're preparing very well for that. They're preparing constantly. But you have to wear a face mask. That's compulsory. You go on any transport, open public transport here on the island, you have to wear a face mask.
Absolutely. And they did make the point, I was reading about a couple of weeks ago, I think, that airport transfers, actually at the airport, those coaches that you get on and go the short distance to the airport terminal, I think I read that they were going to be putting more of those on, and definitely much less people in the actual coach, as it were, at a time. And I think that's how they're going to cope with it, actually, Thomas. Slash the volume of passengers on each coach.
On each coach. No, they have to they split the numbers down, definitely. So you're not seeing full buses like you used to, but the public transport is very good, and what we saw so far was excellent. There were no problems with anything, and people keeping to that mask on and not overcrowding of buses, and that's nice to see, especially in a holiday area like Corfu. It is, they have
absolutely.
a great network.
Yes, they do. It wouldn't go amiss if you bring a spare pair of gloves with you, I think, because gloves may be not so easy to get your hands on, as it were. Masks, I think, are getting much more available here on the island than they were, but again, you might be wise to pack your own as well, just in case.
Yeah, and the island is, the roads are good enough. They're preparing, constantly repairing, they're resurfacing. So you can get a rent-a-car or you get a scooter, and they are all operating normally. Some gonna be closed, some not gonna be open this season. They took the decision, we gonna shut all year. But that's a small, I think that's just a small
Yes, there are a few.
majority who does that. The bigger majority gonna be open, definitely. And we saw already now rent-a-cars and bike hires open. So that's another way you can go around. But we keep you updated, and we, of course, come from one of these locations.
One thing we should point out when we talk about car hire, there seems to be confusion still to this minute as to how many passengers they're going to allow in each car. That figure has changed. Originally, they said 2. Then I think it went to 3. Rather a strange number. I haven't heard any advance currently on 3. But that's a bit awkward if you're a family of 5, for instance.
Yeah, and there's a thing, see, Jacqueline Connor is writing in and saying, I don't think we will be going too stressful, especially with the 5-year-old. So, see, that's going to be a problem now, of course,
yeah. It's stressful for everybody, and at the same time, though, of course, because you've all been so stressed because of suffering lockdown for weeks on end, the idea of a holiday is, Mecca, isn't it? It's the one thing that you really want, and it must be very sad and tragic almost, and extremely upsetting that you can't actually follow through with that long and over-deserved holiday.
Yeah, no, of course it is. I mean, you work all year, you wait for that holiday. You're used to. We have so many people who visit this island 2-3 times every year, and then all of a sudden that's missing. It's just like a routine. You look forward, you're happy. Even let me say it's your first time you come to this beautiful island. You're gonna be excited, especially when you watch us and when you see all the comments about the island and go into all the groups, because we are also passionate about the island, because it is a fantastic island. It's
Absolutely.
a beautiful holiday destination.
Totally.
Yeah, and that's it. And now all of a sudden this is taken away from you. So it's...
Well, like the gentleman said earlier on in the programme who wrote in, didn't he, that there is no other island on the planet like this one. And we absolutely agree with those sentiments.
Yeah, but there's a couple of ideas coming in now. So Benny D is writing in, if you book flights, you should have to self-isolate 2 weeks before you go. Then get tested and only if clear be allowed to travel. So would be self-isolate before, then get tested and go. But there is again, while you're on the way to the airport, on the airport itself, you can't protect yourself
Not
100%
no, you
constantly.
Can't. And how many people would be able to do the 2 weeks prior to takeoff or embarking on your journey if you're tied up with work or other commitments? It might not be possible. It's a good idea in theory, as much isolation and protection from COVID-19 that is possible to achieve, then absolutely go for it, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Vivian is saying it's going to be like the film Karate Kid, no? Mask on, mask off, mask on.
Yes, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So that's a good one, guys. Keep it going. And Jackie Cherry is saying, what's about the boat trips? See, that's another one. When you hear what is open, what can you do? Man, the museum's open, we know that. Is restricted numbers only allowed in. And again, I think there is compulsory to wear a face mask.
Yes.
All the other gonna tell you when you're there, but it looks like, especially in town, it looks like business as usual.
So they say. I haven't actually been into town lately. What I can tell you is good news. Gardiki Castle is now open for inspection, as it were. That's an ancient site, although the castle itself goes back to 1068, I do believe. The ground that it sits upon actually boasts over 26,000 years of civilization. So if you found yourself in the southwest of the island, you can pop into Gardiki Castle. When, of course, you can get here, of course.
Yeah, if you can get here, and that's the next question. And when you look now, and when you speak with the locals again, I mean, let's go to the boat trips. One of the guys I saw, he put his boats in it. I think this was in St. George South, if I wasn't mistaken. I saw him driving with his trailers.
Mm-hmm. There's one guy with boat trips, I think in Musongi, who was on Facebook the other day. He's definitely open for business. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name. I have to say, though, a lot of the firms that have got boats in the area that we have seen are not operational at this moment.
No, and we looked very hard, the couple of days now. Yeah. That's why we decided, well, we come again here tomorrow, we come Isos Beach, just to show you. We go in now in some villages and that. It's really a little bit depressing to show that everything is closed. But the tourist areas now, they still is not open. Man, we've been to Petriti and we saw the taverna was quite well visited. But this was the first taverna we saw.
Oh, but I think there was a special occasion. That was on the Sunday, and I think that was a sort of banquet in relation to the religious festivities that were on that particular day. It may have been a private booking. I don't think it was general public sitting around large amounts of tables. I think there was a special occasion on that one. But as you say, Thomas, the majority of tavernas are very
thing, and some, and
exactly.
We spoke in Bukhari with the taverna, and he said he's gonna open probably on the 15th now, so next Monday. Makes no sense to open before, because he said there's nobody here, and I have to have the staff there, I have to have the electric going, so there is overheads, and not sure how many tourists are coming. It's another one. So that's the next thing where they want tourism here, and they don't want tourism here.
They're 50-50 split right down the middle. If you do make it to Gardiki Castle next week, you'll be pleased to know that, in theory, the Garden Cafe Castle, Gardiki Castle Garden Cafe, is due to be opened by Panos. So he told me. That's next week. Beautiful spot on the corner there, on the way to Halakuna.
Yeah, that's on the way, and I'm happy, and I have to visit him as soon as possible when he's open. It's a fantastic location, and we are good friends, and we visit him for years. But I'm so excited to extend that this year, because we're gonna roll all over this beautiful island. So we're gonna really go on a road trip through paradise, and that's what I'm looking forward now. It's really exciting. It's getting there, and if the tourism starts to come, we can show that, we can update you constantly, and that's what we're gonna do. So Jacqueline Connor is saying, yes, holiday is supposed to be relaxed. but her daughter nearly lost £1,000 while booking, if I understand it right. But we all love Corfu. I have lived there, so she understands exactly what it is.
Yes, quite. Good.
So it's, there's a lot of things there. And Captain Hummer is in Mesongi, and that's one of the tavernas we saw it getting ready in Mesongi, Captain Hummer. We done the broadcast from the canal. This is the taverna just next to it.
Okay.
At Spiros on the beach. But let's talk about other news. You got other things in here.
Well, you reminded me to talk about boats. Kathy was talking about boats. Ships. How about cruises? I've got some information about cruises. Not everybody's favourite occupation, I know. We probably heard in the news that Carnival, one of the biggest operators, has started a limited service. I think I read about 8. But here's some latest news really, from Cunard, which is also part of the Carnival group. They're Southampton-based, and they have just announced a complete cessation of operations right until the beginning of November, would you believe, which of course affects the Queen Mary II, the Queen Victoria, and the Queen Elizabeth. P&O Cruises, another part of Carnival, would you believe, have paused operations until mid-October. Princess Cruises have cancelled everything until the autumn, or rather at the end of their summer season. Saga Cruises have paused operations until the 1st of September. Fred Olsen has halted all operations everywhere. They're a big Norwegian outfit. And finally, Royal Caribbean. They plan, this is the bright spot I suppose in the cruise world, they plan to resume cruises from the 1st of August, but that is not set in stone. So as you can see, basically European cruise travel is pretty non-existent at the moment.
Nah, not at all, is it?
No. Which is
that's
important,
again
of course, for people in town here.
Of course,
it's
they
the
rely,
traffic
that comes in.
A lot of it on the cruise ship passengers.
I mean, what do we have? Some days we have 10,000-15,000 cruise ship passengers in here, and it's mad. But that's what the island is all about. You can't deny that.
No, exactly. But it looks, from what I've just read out, it would appear that there isn't going to be much happening in the way of cruise ships docking in Corfu until at least the autumn, to be quite honest.
No, I don't think there's nothing before the autumn. But let me catch up, because I forgot to say hello to Julie Cam in Edinburgh and Lorraine Smith in sunny Portsmouth. Hi guys, sorry I missed these messages. I tried to get the messages back, but now I got them back, so I'm happy. So, and if you have anything to say, just don't hesitate. Comment now live while we're on air.
I noticed yesterday, Thomas, speaking of lovely Julie Cam there at Edinburgh, she has plans to come and retire here in about 4 or 5 years' time, would you believe? So does Caroline Dodgian from Cumbria, who we spoke to yesterday. She's planning to move here this year. But Julie Cam asked a question, actually, yesterday. She said, Thomas, she hoped that Brexit wouldn't make it impossible for her to retire here. That's a very good question, Julie, and we honestly cannot give you an answer. We simply don't know. I think it's up in the air, and I think, honestly, we're not going to get a better, clearer picture until the UK-EU negotiations have finally come to a close. That would be a red-letter day, wouldn't it? Because these discussions with Monsieur Barnier, I should say, and was it Mr. Frost, is it, from the UK side, have been going on now for an eternally long period of time, and no decisions have been taken yet, have they? So we can't really answer that question about Brexit. How is it going to affect people coming to live here? We simply don't know. But it is something that we are very interested in, and we are definitely keeping an eye on.
Definitely, we're gonna have a look and see, and as soon as a cruise ship comes in, maybe we are able to be down at the harbour and see that in live. So that would be great. But talking cruise ships quickly now, is where Jackie Cherry is saying, I was supposed to be going on a cruise in October, but I'm not taking the chance.
I think that's very wise, actually, to be honest with you, Jackie. It's a confined space, and we've already seen at the beginning of the early days of COVID-19 how badly cruise ships were affected, weren't they? Many were stranded, many were refused entry to lots of ports. There was one that was at sea for absolutely yonks, wasn't it, before it could finally find safe berthing. When it did, they were all quarantined. I think illnesses and cruise ships are things that don't mix very well together.
Nah, I don't think
No.
so. And when you go, if you're talking about cruise ships or flights, it's gonna be very confusing. Here, I got a message quickly in from Julia Britton saying, "Dewey told me yesterday that at this stage they are flying."
Okay.
So
Right.
that comes from Dewey again. So I have no idea. I think we have to wait and see, and everything gonna reveal itself next Monday, because that's the date they say they're starting off with the ferries for tourists,
Yeah.
and then slowly by the 1st of July the international flights are taking part. Now with the cruise ships, I remember, and I can just see this on the thing now here, they said a few weeks ago that they are thinking of August.
I think things
So,
have changed
see
a bit
the
since
chi-
then. There
I
was
know
only
their
one
mind, it's
firm that was
always- yeah.
thinking about August. Well, it's a bit of a fluid situation, isn't it, really, to be honest, the whole COVID-19 thing is. But it would appear from the latest information that we have that there aren't many cruises in Europe
No.
until the end of the summer, let's put it that way.
That's. I think this is the reality we're facing now, and that's gonna hurt the businesses in. So that's the next thing. Swan, I wanted to talk, and I want you guys to tell me what you think. But there's a couple of shout-outs come now, or voices raised within the mainland, within the government, where they say, okay, all the money they're putting now towards preparing for tourism and fixing their infrastructure is all money too hastily spent, where we don't know if we're over the worst or not. Is there a second wave coming? Is it hitting us harder than it did, or are we just behind? How is this going now, especially when we open for tourism? The tourists come from everywhere, so they say, should something happen, do they have the financial backup to control this situation? Is it not better spent now, say, okay, call the season over, that's it, we know we're gonna have not a lot of tourism, but concentrate the money now of helping the people through the hard times ahead.
We discussed all that a long time ago, didn't we, in the early days of lockdown SK, and that was quite a consensus of opinion there, that many people that were speaking to us at that point, this is back in March, end of March, were sort of suggesting that summer season, tourist season 2020 wasn't really going to be happening. It's actually only in the last, I guess, 3 weeks that there's been green shoots, a bit of light at the end of the tourist tunnel for international travel. But, things can change on a daily basis. And as you know, listening to our programs, both Lockdown SK and now Unlocked SK, we have given out different information, simply because different information has come into us. I don't think some of these people have made up their minds, quite frankly.
No, I don't, and that's what it is. You know what? Before the show, we were discussing and we were going and ranting a little bit because we don't understand a couple of things, and a few things are annoying. Especially when we heard that about the UK, there is the quarantine restriction in place, and then people are telling you, one comes from China, the other from the States.
And
nothing has been done, and I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. Everything gonna open up, and it's gonna be treated as near to normal, and that's the fear a lot of locals have with businesses. If they follow through with the restriction and make the proper checks, then it should be all right. But it's always one or two always slip through the net, and that's the problem, I think, gonna present itself.
Absolutely. And further on that subject, testing kits. I mean, they're struggling at the moment to get everybody in the NHS and frontline workers in service industries tested. I know that I've read other people, like for instance the UK Border Force, are definitely saying they haven't got enough personnel to police this 14-day quarantine.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I also think, Thomas, there aren't physically enough testing kits to go around to test all these passengers. I think that's the bottom line reason why it's probably not happening. There just simply aren't enough test kits to be doing
that. I mean, we can talk about the test kits in a minute, because there's another revelation came out. I tell you, but no, you're right. It is now. Who is going to enforce that? Who is going to enforce the restriction now? He can tell you at the border in the car, okay, my address is so and so, that's where I quarantine myself. But who is going and check that then?
Yeah.
Are they having that many people, officers to check that and enforce that?
The personnel.
No,
we know that already,
thing.
yes. And then I mentioned a point yesterday, didn't I? How are you going to move on forward for your journey to self-isolate if you're not allowed to get on public transport or even in the back of a taxi? the government are suggesting you've got to drive a car on your own. Well, if you haven't got a car parked at an airport car park, then you're not going. You might be lucky enough to get car hire, but you can't guarantee that. One couple were relaying their story on Facebook, I think it was yesterday, and they managed to get their parents to drive all the way down from Norfolk to Stansted Airport, I think it was, with 2 cars, leaving the couple a car to drive back on their own, so they could then drive, just the 2 of them, to self-isolate in Norfolk. But of course the original party had to drive back the other car. What a load of logistics. This is just for 2 travellers to comply with UK government temporary regulations. I don't think this 14-day quarantine legislation has been at all thought out.
Not at all. It's also half-baked thing. Exactly. But I was wondering, okay, you take a rent-a-car. My experience when I take a rent-a-car, most of them when I rent them, they are not full with petrol. I have to stop at the petrol station to get that filled. So I just arrived now on the beautiful airport. Nobody is taking my temperature. Nobody's doing anything. And I go to the rent-a-car, I rent my car. I need petrol. I go to the petrol station. While I'm at the petrol station, they all have fantastic mini markets. So I take this opportunity and do a spot of shopping before I lock myself down for 14 days. So defeats the object.
Well, funny you should say that. Isn't that exactly what a certain Mr. Cummings did on his 260-mile journey to Durham? He accidentally slipped out. I think it was in the Rose Garden press conference for one. Extraordinary pictures they were. He just happened to remember that, yes, on his way, he stopped at one motorway service station. Which, good for him, he's got a strong bladder, hasn't he, to go 260 miles. And we've had a coffee. Don't know how he managed it. But he did have to go into a motorway service station. And immediately,
of course,
you're putting everybody at risk, the whole thing, isn't it?
Yes, that's the point. He went out there, he stopped by the service station. There's so many rules he broke at the same time. It's ridiculous, but that brings me on to the next question. The next revelation what came out now, and you can see that. And there were a couple of articles. It's about how the tests are counted. And they say, what you have 2 or 3 swabs, and each of them is a test. So you get a nose swab, that's a test. You get it throat, it's a test. The third, I have no idea. Maybe somebody can enlighten me what the third way. Julie Kem is watching. She's done some COVID-19 testing. But I thought this is the throat and the nose. But that's now 1 person, 2 tests. It's not counted per person how many people have been tested. It's how many tests are carried out. So when 1 person gets 2 swabs, it's 2 tests.
Yes, which means that when the government say, we've made it, we've achieved our 100,000 mark. No, they haven't. They've only done 50,000.
Exactly my point, thank you.
The other thing is, Thomas, they've never actually achieved the high benchmarks that they created themselves. I mean, first it was 50,000 tests. They didn't quite achieve that. Then it was 100,000. Now they've set the bar at 200,000. But as far as I know, that still has yet to be completed, which, of course, feeds into what we were saying 10 minutes ago, that there simply wouldn't be enough personnel or test kits to test all the travellers at the airports. I mean, you can do the maths yourselves. It's just not going to add up, is it? So
I get some great comments in. Thanks, guys, for commenting in. Cherry O.D. saying, hi, guys, hope all is well. It's a rainy day in Donegal. I've been first day back at work. It nearly killed me.
I bet, Jerry. Yes, that must have been a hard one for you.
It is. So, okay. Caroline is saying, my understanding regarding now residents here in Greece, my understanding is, if you have Greek residents by the 31st of December 2020, the Greek government will continue to treat you as an EU citizen. After that, no one knows.
No,
that's
we are
so true.
We are aware that that was the case.
Caroline,
a few months
thank
back.
you.
Yes, thank you very much, Caroline.
And Margaret Black is saying, hi guys, hope you're all well. A bit overcasted here in Durham. Can't wait to get out of the UK.
Margaret, yes, I bet you'll be looking forward to coming to the... I think you'll go to St George South, don't you, Margaret? I know you love this island, as all our viewers and followers do. Can't blame them, really, can you, Thomas?
No, it's great. And thanks, guys, for... Vivian Dooley's... Vivian is saying... tests are going like this. One to miss a few. So
Yes.
on the COVID, it seems like, because
It does, doesn't
you
it?
can't really trust the numbers then.
Not
When
at
this
all,
is coming
Thomas.
out,
No,
this
you
is
can't.
one person
No.
get 2-3 swabs to carry that test out, and it is counted as 2-3 tests.
It just makes a
It
mockery
makes
of
a
the whole
mockery
thing.
of the
Yeah,
whole thing.
for sure.
So
But then
it's again.
here's another subject: schools opening. You know, it was often trumpeted, wasn't it, that primary schools in the UK were going to be opening up Monday. Last week, it wasn't 100% uptake at all, and now they're completely reconsidering that.
Yeah, and here's something great. Sorry, from the tests now. Why we talk testing and entering the UK? You wanna
Yeah.
go first, or
No.
that's coming from David Roseman. It's why we talk testing. We just heard nobody's testing the 2 arrivals from Washington and from
Right,
Hong
yeah.
Kong at Heathrow. I mean, very, very sad. But here, one on top, UK guidelines on traveling to your quarantine address is that it's preferable that you use personal transportation. But we recognize this won't be possible in all cases, and that so you can use public transport to travel directly
really?
to your quarantine
Okay.
address.
Well, they've had to move a little bit on that one, because a few days ago it was absolutely a complete no-no. So thank you for pointing another slight change of policy out to us, David. Cheers.
No, that's the thing, but the tests are not right. Then it's with the quarantine restrictions, what they say. You get confused because that's not in quarantining. That you can't call it quarantine. A quarantine is when you really block somebody from leaving the destination. There is nobody in, or the location. Cordon this location off. There's no one in and no one out. That's it. That's quarantine.
Do you know, I'm just thinking back, Thomas. Do you remember the time way before lockdown started that there were repatriating citizens to the UK, and quite a few flights came in, and they were very careful, weren't they? Very tight restrictions. They all got put on buses and then sent to special hospitals all around the UK where they had to maintain a rigid 14-day curfew. What happened to those days? Because that was
I have no idea.
a long time ago now, and it seems to me that they've slipped. They've changed their minds completely, and now it's not so. It's just the other thing that stands out in my memory is from the United States when they were banning flights from China, but of course it was like closing the stable door after the horse had bolted. Do you remember those scenes from Chicago O'Hare Airport? Unbelievable, yes.
And you see that it's
frightening, actually.
It is, and when you see, we got a new ticket, I forgot to mention that today, and on the bottom you can see the latest at the moment what's going on. That's the headline, that's what's happening, and that's so a few things we're going to talk. That's health orientated.
Yeah.
And when you go onto the BBC website under health, you can find all these headlines and read.
One headline that's going through right at the moment that we don't see everywhere else is coronavirus asymptomatic transmission, quote, very rare. I have to point that out, Thomas, because that's rather good to see that. The World Health Organization is perennially warning us that there are possibly 2/3 of the population of the world that are asymptomatic, and there were these concerns that even though they were asymptomatic, they could still pass it on to other unsuspecting people. Well, if that's true, what's on that ticker, that does give us some little bit of hope and encouragement, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, when this is true, it would be great, but there's still so much confusion out there, and we can only wait and see what's gonna happen, and we hope that this gonna all go down like everybody is hoping it's gonna go down. And here, especially by us on the island now, it would be nice to see the streets a little bit full, the tavernas full, the sea, the beach a little bit filling up, and people enjoying the well-deserved holiday. And we're gonna talk soon about giving heroes a holiday. That's an initiative of cvvillers.com. But there's a couple of things. One thing more you got in thing, or if I'm mistaken.
On what subject, Thomas? What are we on about?
We were talking about something about
I was
travel.
going to talk school. No, I'm
the school, exactly.
Schools.
That's what one. Sorry, I forgot now. I got stuck. Sorry, man.
An example
schools, what's
of
with the
how
schools?
the UK is changing on the hoof their policies. It was much trumpeted, wasn't it, to get primary school children back before the school year ended, and it was going to be concentrated on reception year, year 1 and year 6. And the plan was for them to open for 4 weeks. They were going to be 15, no more, in a class. But as was warned at the time, there simply isn't enough spaces in schools to house all these children, to separate them out like that. But now they've given up on the idea. I don't think it had a huge uptake. I remember reading in the northeast of England, the majority of parents and school governors weren't ready for the schools to open at all. So it says to me that they're not going to be opening up the schools in England until the new academic year, which is after the summer. That's as it stands at the moment.
So, yeah, and
that's what Matt Hancock was saying.
Matt Hancock was saying yesterday.
Yeah. Although I don't quite know why he's saying it, because it should be said by Gavin Williamson, who is the Education Secretary.
Exactly. See, this is so confusing.
Exactly.
Why
Very
is that
confusing,
not,
isn't
you
it?
know,
Yeah.
why do
What's
I
it
have
got to do with Matt Hancock? Pardon, Matt Hancock, but do you know what I think it is? I think they're all jostling for position to be who's going to be the next Prime Minister. That's what I actually think.
I think they all are trying to get on and outdo Johnson.
I think they might be. So well, we know there's two very ambitious people there, Gavin Williamson and Matt Hancock himself. Although Matt Hancock was defeated in the competition that ended up with election process rather than a competition that ended up with Boris Johnson being leader of the Conservative Party. So maybe they're secretly behind the scenes out for his job. But certainly there would appear to be a U-turn on education policy in the UK. Just to point out that Wales, all schools are going to be open from the 29th of June for all ages. Scotland from the 11th of August. And in Northern Ireland, September, but opening up in phases. That's as it is at the moment.
So now, and no, it looks good, and if they can pull it off and everything can be arranged safely, it would be great, especially for the youngsters now. You know, I think they stuck in there.
Well,
but
they really,
you know,
they must be missing school terribly. Their children, or the social development as well.
See, but there's another thing now. Margaret Black is writing in. The UK politicians have all lost the plot. They make it up as they go along.
Exactly.
It's beginning to really annoy people. My mother is 99 years old and have been on lockdown since day one. And these fools are out protesting. Complete madness.
Yes, it's double standards, really, isn't it? It seems to be one rule for one group, another rule for another group of people, and another rule if you happen to be a special advisor at number 10 Downing Street. I mean, goodness knows. But it must be very frustrating for your 99-year-old mother. That's a fabulous age to reach, by the way. Well done, her. Yes.
Great, but see, it's the double standards what you were talking, and that's what's so annoying, and that's where people are getting wrapped up, and then certain things happen, and some uses the opportunity, like some protesters use now using that as an opportunity to get the hot air out, to let steam off. This is how I see it, and it's sad. Because, you know, this is completely taken out of context what they want to achieve. But let's say, thanks God, the majority is well behaved and they haven't forgotten the reason why they demonstrate. And that's nice to see. Absolutely. And now you see the police also backing down and more or less joining the whole situation. And that's good to see. But when we spoke about the statue they pulled down in Birmingham, come on.
In Bristol.
I'm Bristol, sorry.
Yes, well, the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, was rather annoyed, wasn't she? She phoned the Chief Constable of Avon and Somerset Police and gave him a right ticking off. She asked him to explain himself why it was that arrests weren't made. Apparently, he was unable to explain himself, although the feeling is the police took the decision in the heat of the moment because they considered that had they intervened, they would create more problems.
Exactly.
So
I think they done very well. They backed off, they let them carry on. They didn't hurt anybody else by doing it. They just let some frustration out and highlighted some issues what are still here. And these issues are real, and they haven't been addressed by the government for the last decade.
Well, exactly.
It's appalling because they should have done already something. We sadly we have big figures in history who done dreadful things, and they shouldn't be promoted like they did now. They should be in history. They should be written down. Yeah, but you know, it's like glorifying them. And when you look then in deeper, it's quite shocking.
Well, the business of statues commemorating people who were actively involved in the slave trade several centuries ago has been a hot topic for, as you say, probably the last 10 years. This is not new news. They promised, I'm sure, a moratorium to look into it about statues in public places and street names. But nothing happened until the dreadful events of George Floyd over in the United States of America, which seems to have set off a catalyst, a wave of protest all around the globe.
Yeah.
But surely, as the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has said today, that there is a need now to really sit down and talk about, do you want a statue of Mr. X or Mr. Y who promoted or certainly was actively rewarded because of slavery 200-300 years ago? There's a lot of statues still up all around the place in the United Kingdom. I was reading about that yesterday. So maybe the councils need to have a long, hard think about this and possibly remove statues that are obviously offensive to a large number of the population. Slavery, terrible thing. And I personally didn't live in those times, but I have to say, Thomas, that it would never have occurred to me to enslave anybody. And I don't quite understand the mentality. But we should point out that the average mentality in the 1700s is far different.
It's far
to how it is
exactly,
now.
and that's the whole thing. We have to move with the times. And they had the opportunity to remove this statue and store it somewhere, but they chose not to. And when you saw the last request of removing that was denied, and then they wanted to change the plaque on it to make clear the history, what he stood for, and that was denied, and nothing happened.
Exactly.
So this is the culture of talking, and thinking that's just a small problem that's coming. People talk about it, and then it's going away again. When you don't engage with them, it's gonna go away. That's the culture the politicians had in the last decade. So there's a problem coming. Ignore it. Try to ignore it. Maybe it goes away.
That seems to be the way they run their business. But the other thing we should say is that a lot of these people who had statues created of their image, and we now know that they were actively involved in some way or other with the slave trade. Of course, the other side of the story is that they were very philanthropic in other ways. Not only did they employ loads of people, and hopefully some of them were good to their employees, but others were very charitable. For instance, there's a statue of a guy who was involved in the slave trade, but at the same time he gave large sums of money to hospitals in London, one of which still bears his name. So yes, we do need a proper discussion, and
definitely
I think the idea of putting a plaque up to explain is one way round it. But quite frankly, if at all there's any contentiousness at all involved in the people that are the subject of the of the protesters, then maybe there is a call for their statues to be removed and put somewhere else. More discreet.
Yeah, I mean, Margaret Black is commenting and saying we should not obliterate our history, be it good or bad. No, exactly. That's what we're saying. We shouldn't get rid of it, but we could have made a change in there.
Yes,
it's still a place for history because it happened. That's what it is, and he done also good things.
Exactly.
So
that's the point.
If it outweighs the bad one, I don't know. I'm not the judge, but you know what? It is bad, and at the moment, the face of our planet is changing, and when they're talking about a new normal, we should make that part of our new normal, not to forget the history.
Tolerance for everybody.
But tolerance for everybody, and it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It's a balancing act. Yes, it is. But certainly there seems to be a call for a thorough investigation and actually some action. There's no good just talking about these things.
No, you need some action.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Let's go over and let's talk about something positive. The hour is nearly over and it's nearly time to go. But before we go, I want to point one thing out. And that's here now. When I get rid of that and I throw that up. And this is giving heroes a holiday, and that's now giving holidays away, and this is here on Corfu cvvillas.com, and the lovely Nikos and Annabelle Louvros made us aware of that one, and let's look over, let's code it up, and here it is.
Yeah.
If you wanna send one of your heroes away on a fantastic holiday, CV Villas is giving away 15 villa holidays to Corfu, to the heroes supporting the fight against COVID-19. And here we got the address. If you wanna the email, the web address. If you wanna take part and nominate somebody to, one of your heroes to get one of these holidays, log on to www.cvvillas.com/heroes, and you come on to the nomination page, and here on the nomination page you just fill in and give the reason for the nomination of the person you just nominated. But what a fantastic initiative here from CV Villas Corfu. That's fantastic.
Yeah. the very people that really need a free reward of a lovely holiday.
Oh, definitely, and that's what's all about. We still got our heroes out there, and voting has now closed. Oh, see, there's just a message coming through. I didn't see that before, but that's what C.V. Willers done. So sadly, you can't nominate anybody anymore. But see, earlier I looked at it; it was not on there, so they must just have done that, or I missed that. So I'm apologize. But that's great. Still a great initiative to do from C.V. Willers, giving heroes a holiday. We hope we can find out who were the nominated heroes.
Yes,
and who gonna come on holiday. That would be great, man.
That would indeed, absolutely. One place in the world, Thomas, that is absolutely, and I'm touching wood while I say it, that's completely free as we speak at the moment of COVID-19 is, guess where? I'm sure you know.
New Zealand. No.
No. Well, it is, yes.
Well, Tanzania said something to
Antarctica.
Antarctica. Oh, okay.
Antarctica has got 0 cases, has had 0 deaths, and therefore 0 recovered. However, New Zealand is very concerned about this, and it wants to keep it COVID-19 free. So the group known as Antarctica New Zealand and their base, which is called Scott Base, are drastically scaling back their planned projects for the 2021 season, which, as you can appreciate, because of the winter season down there, it runs between October and March. So 36 projects were planned, but 23 now are being cancelled. So that just leaves 13 projects that they're going to be doing this year, which is all about planned maintenance, essential operational activity maintenance, and long-term observations. Travel limits have been imposed, and they're very strict managed isolation plan. And they say this is the key factors in keeping it virus-free, because, as we all know, close-quarter confined living conditions is a hotbed for breeding ground for COVID-19. Bit like a cruise ship. Yeah. And don't forget, there's no hospital on the whole of the continent of Antarctica. Australia has announced that it's going to be doing similar things, like cutting back on all work. So let's hope Antarctica can be the one continent of the whole of this beautiful globe that is COVID-19 free. That would be good, wouldn't it?
That would be good, yeah. Well, you know what, that's all. You know what, again, you know what I'm saying now. No?
I'm going to say, I have another story.
You want one more story?
One more story, and it's good news, and it's a guten Abend to all our German-speaking friends, because it's from Germany. We all have heard of drive-in cinemas, drive-in takeaways, and even drive-in church services. Well, there's another one to add to the list now. Would you believe, in the basement of Cologne-Bonn Airport, there's now a drive-in art exhibition, because there's plenty of spare space because of all the cancelled flights. In Germany, all indoor exhibitions have been cancelled. So the curator of this exhibition, who's also an artist called Dieter Nussbaum, he'd had the bright idea of putting on an art exhibition in the spare space. And 50 artists have got involved, displaying 300 paintings and sculptures. And it's all in aid to support struggling artists who have, of course, been hit hard by the pandemic. And the freeze that's been on artistic events. They're using those luggage trolleys. What a wonderful use for a airport luggage trolley to put a painting on. The big ones, of course, that don't fit will be on the ground. The airport has donated 300 of these trolleys for the event. It's ongoing at the moment, and it costs €4.50 per car per hour. That's £4 in English money. Yeah. So that's not bad for a drive-in art exhibition, is it?
Yeah, it's good. Okay, isn't it? A drive-in art exhibition. What a great idea.
Exactly.
It's brilliant, isn't
it? Yes.
What a story.
Doesn't it? Yeah, there you go.
So that's your art exhibition.
I still haven't got the Swedish story out, but we'll do that tomorrow. And I've got another one actually from Thailand. So I'm stacking up the good news stories, because we always like to leave on a bit of good news.
Great. And you know what, guys? Thank you so much for taking part in the show, commenting in and writing our messages and emails. If I have forgotten anybody, I really do apologize. I try to catch up tomorrow with that. And yes, tomorrow we're going to be back again 6 p.m. Greek time, 4 p.m. UK time, rest of Europe 5 p.m. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for taking part and making that show so special. But enjoy your evening anywhere you are. I mean, we're gonna enjoy that fantastic sunshine. The weather is great. We are blessed with that. But guys, thanks so much for logging on, watching. I see you tomorrow again. So until then, have a fantastic evening. Kali Nichter from me.
Absolutely. And as always, thank you very much for sharing your time with us here at StudioKerkyra. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are. Stay safe and keep well. And a very good afternoon to you all.